All right. So before I talked about winning hands, right? I talked about how your hand can actually win in Mahjong. Now I'm going to talk about things that you can call in Mahjong. So the game's not really just like, oh, let's see which one of us can draw the fastest hand and win, because that would be boring. It would just be four person sitting around a table, just drawing a tile at a time and seeing who can complete a hand first. There is interaction in the game, and that's what makes Mahjong so fun. So what happens is that, let's see how many tiles I have. Let's say I'm the starting player, and this was my starting hand. I have 3 tiles, 6, 9, 12, and 14. So I'm the starting player. So I'll toss away a tile. And then the next person goes, and they would toss a tile. So let's see what they toss. Let's say they tossed a west, a site, right? This is site. I think I'm just gonna refer to each tile by their Cantonese name because it's just more fluent for me. So someone tossed a site. You only have one, so you can't really do much about it. But you do have 2 nons. You have 2 souths. Okay, so the next player goes, the person across from you, they toss out a non. They toss out the south. So at this point in the game, you're like, oh, I have 2 souths. So, and I want to make triples, and someone just tossed out the third one. What can I do? You can say pong. Okay, you can say pong, or in Japanese is pon, P-O-N. So you say pong, and then you basically reveal that you have 2 of these, and you take this third one, and you set it to your side. So this is now public knowledge to everyone, but you basically just made a set. And you can do this for any pairs that you have in your hand. As long as you have 2 copies of it and someone throws out the third one, you can say pong and you will have it. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It doesn't matter if it's from the person left from you, the person across from you, the person that just went right after you. You can say pong. So after you say pong, after you take this, you now have to draw out a tile, because you can only have 13 tiles at a time unless if you won the game. So we now have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 14. We need to get rid of 1 tile. And because you saw that someone tossed out this character, your chances of drawing the other 2 are pretty low, so you want to toss out this one. And then the person after you goes again. And now let's say this person right after you decide to toss out the 8 of circle, the bottom, right? And look, once again, you have two 8 of circles in your hand, and you want the third copy of it. You want to make triplets out of these. So you would say pong. You would say pong again, and then you basically, your hand looks like this. You go like pong, you show the 2 8s, you take this third one, and you set it to the side right next to you, or in front of you, however you want to play. And then once again, it is now your turn to toss out a tile, because you now have 14 tiles. You have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, and 14. You're going to toss out one of these characters. Okay, pretty good so far. Now let's look at your hand. Let's look at the rest of your hand. You have 3, 4, 5, which is a set. So you want to keep these together because this is pretty much complete. You have 1, 4, 5 of the manzi, and you have a 2 of circle, the yitong, right? This is just floating by itself. This one, you can also toss this one because 1, 4, 5 does not make anything, but 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6 can make something. So, when it's your turn again, you want to toss out one of these. All right, so let's say everyone went. This person went. Person across from me went. Person to my left went. Now I draw. I drew this. Doesn't really help, so I'm going to toss this one out. Okay, once again, they go. Each person toss out something. And then the person to my left goes, and they toss out a lokman, all right? This person tossed out a lokman. And I'm like, oh, I have the 4 and the 5 manzi. And if I get the 6, I can complete a 4, 5, 6. I can complete a set because they're consecutives. So what you can do at this point, if the person to your left draws out a tile that you want to make a set, you can say Chii, or you can say sarang in Cantonese. So they toss out 6. You basically go like Chii, 4, 5, 6. and now you have your dirt set, and this is your fourth set, and now you just need a pair. So you toss out one of these, and you wait for your last winning tile. And you might ask, oh, can I Chii from anywhere? And no, you cannot. You can only Chii from the person to your left. So if I toss this one out, and the player to my right has 3 and a 4 of circles, and they want this too, the person to my right can say Chii, and they'll take it, and then they will toss out a tile. Please note that when you take a tile that someone else tossed out, you do not draw anymore, or else you will have over 13, 14 tiles in your hand. And then at that point, you will be unable to win because that's your mistake, right? If you drew an extra tile, or if you somehow lost another tile and you only have 12 tiles for an entire game, you basically screwed up somehow. And better luck next game, okay? So please be aware of your tiles. When it's your turn to draw, please draw. Sometimes people won't remind you if they're not nice. But yes, Chii can only come from the person that tossed it if they're on your left. So let's say if my hand was still like this and the person across from me tossed the 6, I can't say Chii. It has to be the person before me. If the person to my right tossed a 6, I can't take it. Only the person to my left. Person to my left tossed a 6, I can say Chii, and I will take it. Okay, and then once again, I'm waiting to draw. Let's say I draw this. This is not bad actually, but right now I need a pair. 1, 2 is not bad. You can do 1, 2, 3, and that would be a set. But we already have our 1, 2, 3, 4. We already have 4 sets, and we just need a pair. So we're gonna toss this one away, and then we go around. Someone tosses out the Yetman, the one of Manza, right? So you're like, oh, that's the winning tile that I need. So you say Ron, say, I want the game, okay? I want that tile. You toss it out. I'm taking it. Here's my pair. I completed my hand. 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, 4 set, and a pair. I won. Yep, just that easy. This is the very bare minimum basics of Mahjong. So the last call that we have besides, the Chii, this one, the Chii, the Pong, the Ron, when you're about to win someone, when you use it, right? The last call that we have is just basically an extension of the Pong. So the Pong means that you have a triplet, you have 3 of the same thing. The last call that we have is the Kan. The Kan, or the Gong in Cantonese, is 4 of the same tile, which is, kind of hard because there are only 4 copies in the entire set. So getting 4 of them is a little hard. I just want to make the Kan a little separate from the Pongs because there are many different ways that you can get a Kan. You can get it from either first you have 2 and then you make a Pong. So you now have 3, and this is open to everyone. And then later on in the game, you draw and you draw the 4th one. You can add the 4th one to your Pong and make it into 4 tiles. And then when this happens, you draw at the back of the wall. You draw from the last tile. And this tile basically counts as a replacement tile. It counts as the tile that you basically drew from your draw before. And then you'll play normally. You just toss this out or something, or if your hand was like this, you toss this one out. Let's see. Another way that you can get a Kong is you start off with 3 in your hand. So all this is in your hand. So let's say if you had a starting hand that was like like this and this, right, and this. Okay, let's say your starting hand looks kind of like this. I don't have those tiles, but I don't know. Let's get one of these. So this is your starting hand, and then it is your turn to draw. Actually, no, this is not your starting hand. You have 1 tile to win. So it's your turn to draw. You have 2 already in your hand, and then you draw. And then you basically got yourself a third one. Now this, when you get a third one, you don't have to reveal it to everyone. You can keep it in your hand. If your hand is supposed to look like this, right? Your hand is not visible to everyone. But when you pong, you know, when someone else draws out this one and you pong, then you have to reveal it and then show it to everyone like that. But when you draw all 3 of them by yourself, you don't have to reveal it. So now you have 3, and then let's say someone else tossed out the 4th one, and now you want to Kong it. You basically open your hand, you say Kong, and then you take it, and then you reveal it to everyone. You now draw from the back of the wall, and you play normally. You either toss this one out, you know, or you can toss this one out if you want, you know, toss one of these, doesn't matter. And then the last way that you can get the con is, you know, it's your turn. You start off the game with 3 of them, or, you know, you started off the same way you did before. You had 2 of them in your hand, and it is your turn to draw. Let's see, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 13. Yep, so it is now our turn to draw. We draw the third one. We want to keep the third one. And then we are going to toss out, what do we want to toss out? We're going to toss out, let's toss out this one, right? Okay, let's put our hands back up. And then, you know, everyone goes around one time, and it's my turn again. I draw the 4th one. And at this point, you can say con, and you basically place it face down. In the Cantonese version, the Hong Kong version, you can just place all 4 face down, and you draw from the back of the wall, and no one knows what these tiles are. In the Japanese one, you have to actually show at least 2 of the tiles, like this, or you can show all of them. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter actually, because it tells you how you got it. So when you do it like this, it says that you drew all 4 of these tiles by yourself. And this, in the Japanese version, still consider your hand is still concealed. I'll talk about that another time, but that's 3 different ways to Kong. So you either draw all 4 of them and you place them face down like this, or you draw, you know, you draw 3, and then the 4th one you got from someone else, or you draw, or you had a pong, you ponged it from someone else, and then later on you drew it again. And then you add it onto here, and then you draw from the back of the wall. Now please keep in mind that every time you Kong, you have to draw from the back of the wall, because most of the time we have 3, 3, 3, 3, and 1. And that's how we have 14 tiles, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. When you add a 4th tile onto one of these, you suddenly lose out on one of these, because this is 4, this is 7, this is 10, this is 13, now this is 14. However, you realize that you can't suddenly make a pair because you added an extra tile to a set. So in order to fix this, you have to draw from the back of the wall every time you do a con. And this tile basically replaces the tile that you added onto here, giving you exactly the correct amount of tiles to win. It's a little complicated, I know. But if you don't draw or you con, and then you just toss out a tile, you realize that, oh, you can't win anymore because you're now missing tiles because you didn't draw from the back of the wall. So please remember, always draw from the back of the wall there in order to keep your hand in a correct state of numbers. Yep, that's about it.